Hello, Diesel Review viewers and subscribers. Today I want to talk to you about a comment that I received from somebody yesterday. Today is September 2nd? I don't know. I guess I'm living the dream. But today should be September 2nd, and I got a comment from somebody asking me about the Jetta TDI, if the maintenance cost is more on the diesel versus the gas. And that got me into a huge thing about, well, you have to look at other costs as well. I mean, diesel will cost more on maintenance if you're replacing everything on time, like your fuel filters. But because you have to replace more fuel filters more often than the gas version, you do end up paying more for maintenance. But in the case of a BMW or a car like an Audi where you can buy Audi Care, maintenance on either the gas or the diesel, it's already covered. So maintenance is not really an issue until you get past 40 or 50,000 miles. So let's talk about what I would call the 1,000-gallon rule. First, you take some known information about a car. In this case, we're looking at a 2015 Audi A3. The 2.0 has a tank capacity of 13.2 gallons, and it gets 24 city, 33 highway, 27 combined. So what I did was I took the combined rating, multiplied it by the fuel tank capacity, and I got 356.4 miles of range combined on a tank. So I did a search today, and the Shell station nearby has 93 octane for $2.55 a gallon, bringing the full tank to $33.66. Okay, well, let's look at the 1.8, also a gas engine. The 1.8, same thing, except for the city mileage, right? So combined is the same rating, same price. Now let's look at the TDI. Okay, and this is also very interesting if you're looking to buy or decide if you want a 2.0, a 1.8, or a TDI. Maybe the dealer is giving you some sort of special offer on either car, and you just, you're not really concerned about anything other than cost, right? So the TDI diesel also has a 13.2 gallon tank, but it gets 31 city, 43 highway, and 36 combined, meaning that combined you get 475.2 mile range out of a tank, and diesel's actually cheaper today at $2.27. And what you end up with here is a very, very small difference. Literally, you're going to look at that and go, hey, that's just a latte at Starbucks. That's not really a cost savings of diesel versus gas. But actually, you're wrong. What I've developed here is the 1,000-gallon rule. And that means that if you're a sadomasochist and you buy a car today and you go, gee, when I buy my car, I'm going to limit myself to 1,000 gallons, period. And then when I'm done with the 1,000 gallons, I'm going to get rid of the car. Or maybe you live in an area with a government that says when you buy a new car, you're limited to 1,000 gallons, and then you have to get rid of your car, and we're going to mandate you buy electric. Or something stupid. Thankfully, we're in a free country. So let's look at a very weird approach that I take, which helps me decide what the benefit is of gas versus diesel, or even different gasoline type cars between the same brand or different brands. It's called the 1,000-gallon rule, and here is how it works. So if we're going to look at the 2.0, the 2.0 gets 24 city, 24,000 miles is basically what you're going to get out of 1,000 gallons. So basically 1,000 times 24 is 24,000 miles. 33 on the highway is 33,000 miles, and then 27 combined is 27,000 miles. If we go to the 1.8, we see that we lose 1,000 miles of range in the city, but everything else stays the same. Now let's look at the TDI. Now if you only bought 1,000 gallons with your car, the TDI will allow you to go 31,000 miles in the city. That's a huge difference. That's a 7,000 and 8,000 mile difference between the 2.0 and the 1.8. Now on the highway, it's a 10,000 mile difference on 1,000 gallons, the same 1,000 gallons. And combined, you have a 9,000 mile difference. Okay, so now how does that compute in math on price? Well, if we're going to compare the 1.8 to the diesel can go 8,000 miles further than the 1.8 in the city, 10,000 miles further on the highway, and 9,000 combined. So you may ask, what does the 1.8 need to go the same distance as the TDI? We know that the MPG in the city on the 1.8 is 23, the 1.8 is 33 highway, and 27 MPG combined. Well, on a 13.2 gallon tank, and with this information here, we need 347 gallons of gas to go that extra 8,000 miles. 303 gallons of gas to go that extra 10,000 miles. And 333 gallons of gas to go the 9,000 miles just to keep up with the TDI. And what does that equate to, really? Well, based on our current fuel price of $2.55 a gallon for the 1.8, which is 93 octane, we need 347 gallons to do that. And that will cost $884 more in fuel. $772.65 on the highway, and $849.15 combined. That's a huge difference. And the same story goes for the 2.0. So we have a 7,000 mile spread between the 2.0 and the TDI in the city, and we have a 10,000 mile spread on the highway, and we have a 9,000 mile difference combined. And pretty much between the 1.0 and the 1.8 and the 2.0 to the TDI, we're at the same fuel cost for highway and combined. But look at the city cost. You'd think that the 1.8 would be cheaper for you in the city, but it's actually more expensive than the 2.0. So the loss here is that if you get the 1.8, it'll cost you more than the 2.0 just to catch up to the TDI in the city. Because you see, the TDI will go 31,000 miles on 1,000 gallons. So next time you're car shopping, go past this number here. Think more than a latte. Think big picture. Because in the end of it, if you did buy 1,000 gallons with your car and you leased one, for example, if you did a 3-year lease, you're gonna be doing probably about 10,000 miles a year, which means you'll be hitting this number at the end of your lease. So if you're gonna do that, you're only gonna be buying 1,000 gallons of fuel. But look, if you leased the TDI, you're saving a huge amount of money. In fact, between the 1.8 and the 2.0, it makes no difference. You're saving, well, $750 plus, basically. So that's something to consider when you're car hunting and thinking, well, if maintenance cost isn't really going to be a big deal because the manufacturer pays for it, still look at the fuel cost and use the 1,000-gallon method. Just go to the showroom and look at the MPG number and just multiply that by 1,000. Okay, so the 2.0, 24 city. Oh, I can go 24,000 miles. Let's combine 27. Oh, I can go 27,000 miles. And then walk across the showroom to the TDI version and go, oh, that's a huge difference. That's a huge difference. And then the way to really seal the deal is you have to go on Gas Buddy or look across the street at the gas station and figure out how much do they cost. And you take this number, okay, and you look at the fact that the tank may be a different size. You have to really accommodate that, and you get to your final number. And when you see there's a difference of 9,000 miles or 8,000 miles or 7,000 miles between each of these different cars, that's when you're going to make your mind up. I'd rather pay $884 less and get the TDI because it has the range, because that's what diesels are all about. So here's the overall snapshot of my 1,000-gallon rule. But it doesn't really just end here. What you really have to do is take into account, okay, well, I'm buying 1,000 gallons right now at $2.55 or 1,000 gallons right now at $2.27. So really, the full cost of the fuel for the 1.8 or the 2.0 is $2,550 for 1,000 gallons. And if you get the TDI, which is diesel, at $2.27 a gallon, you're paying $2,270 for 1,000 gallons. That's a difference of $280 on top of the additional money you have to spend here to catch up to the TDI. So this is just the discrepancy between the 1.8 versus TDI and the 2.0 versus TDI. But you take this number, this number, this number, this number, this number, this number, and you add the difference of $280 for the initial 1,000 gallons, and you're over $1,000 for the TDI advantage, right? So when you're looking at the TDI going, gee, these diesel cars have a $1,500 premium. No, they don't. I just proved to you that you're saving $1,000 on fuel over the life of your lease, perhaps, or up to 43,000 miles of highway use. And so that money gets washed out, especially when you're going to be done with your car and decide after the end of 3 years, if you own it, or maybe 4 years or 5 years, you're going to get that premium back when you sell it, because the TDI will get a couple $100 more than the gas version. It's just there. And if you don't believe me, go look at a used Q5 or a used Q7 or a used 5 Series or 3 Series, X5, X3. The list goes on and on. The diesels will fetch more than the gasoline version. Equivalent year, equivalent mileage. You'll see. It's there. That money comes right back in your pocket. So when you're looking at numbers, if you're really looking into it, go by the 1,000-gallon rule. We know it's going to cost this much money today, right? This is a variable, but we know right now it's going to be, this is the worst case scenario. And that's how the 1,000-gallon rule works. That's what I use when I go car shopping and when I want to do some comparisons. I hope you enjoyed. Thumb up the video if you agree with me. If you disagree or don't understand it, leave some comments, thumb it down, I don't care. But let me know what you think. Did I blow your mind? I hope so. Talk to you later.